Hello everyone, my name is Sam. I'm here today to do a quick little video on setup and solving equations with regards to the GCSE November exams. Now, Self and solve, we know it can come up in two different ways. It can come up in the first way by using a diagram where you'd have to use your knowledge and understanding of angles, perimeter, etc. to help you understand what a value could be. And then in the second case, it can come up with a worded problem. Now, the worded problems can often be solved by doing trial and error, but if you can understand the use of algebra with those questions, you can get to the exact answer in a much quicker time. And it might be something that just agrees with you. So that's the video aims. We're going to look at the both types of solving equations, and hopefully it helps. Like we said, we do predict a question like this to be coming up on the papers, particularly paper 2 and 3. So hopefully this video is helpful and beneficial. So first things first, you've got to kind of understand what the question is asking or showing you. So it says here, find the value of x, and we have, two terms, 4x and x, and then two angles, and they are around a point. So it's about using what you know. So I know that angles around a point there add up to 360 degrees. So if I was to take these four items and add them together, they would equal 360 degrees. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it as a long equation. So let's start with x. So we've got x plus 20 plus 4x plus 100. Those four items there added together will give me 360 degrees, because we know angles around a point add up to 360. Okay, now I've got that. You can see it's a bit long-winded. We can simplify it, and by simplifying it, I mean let's put all of our x's together and let's put all of our numbers together. Now maths is the only place you'd want all of your x's together. Little joke for you there. There you go. So x plus 4x, that is 5x. Then I've got plus 20 plus 100, so that's going to be plus 120, and together they add together to give me 360 degrees. Now hopefully you're looking at that and you're like, oh, that looks familiar. 5x plus 100, that looks like an equation I can solve, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So you've got the plus 120, we need to get rid of that first, and we do that by subtracting it. So we minus 120 from both sides, and when I say from both sides, I mean both sides of the equals. So you can even put a line in to make it very clear what we're doing. That's going to leave us on the left hand side with just 5x, because we've subtracted that 120, that's now gone. And then 360 take away 200, take away 120 is going to give me 240 degrees. Now the last thing I need to do is the opposite of x being times by 5. So now I need to divide by 5, and once again do it to both sides. Let me get my pen. So on the left hand side, we're going to be left with simply x by itself. Now, I strongly believe these come up on the calculator paper, so feel free to use a calculator at this point. 240 divided by 5 gives me 48 degrees. Now we can go back to the question, find the value of x. Have we done that? Yes, we have. So step by step, we understood what this was showing me. Well, it showed me angles around a point, and that allowed me to understand that they needed to be added together to give me 360. I wrote it out as a long equation, and then I simplified it down to 5x plus 120. Once I had that all in order, I then solved the equation to reveal my final answer. So that's one example. I've got a few that we're going to work through now. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I can give these a go ahead. Feel free to pause the video at this point now and then give this question a go. See if you get the same answer as me. If you feel like you need a few more, explanations and examples, that is absolutely fine. Let's have a look. So these are angles in a triangle. Now I know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. So whatever I do now, it needs to equal 180 degrees. So I've got 3x plus 2x plus 90. Now that is the international mathematical symbol for 90 degrees, so that's plus 90 there. Make sure you don't forget about those. Sometimes the examiners like to sneak them in, and if you're not on it, if you're not paying attention, you could lose that. Now what we're going to do is put all of our x's together. So 3x plus 2x is going to give me 5x plus the 90 equals 180 degrees. Now, once again, look, we're in that good position now where we can just try and solve this equation. So the first step we're going to do is subtract 90. If it says plus 90, we do the opposite. We take away 90. And I'm going to put the line back in, make it nice and clear which side I'm doing it to. So that's going to leave me with, on the left-hand side, simply 5x by itself. Then 180 take away 90 gives me 90 degrees. And then the last part of the process is the division. And similar to the last example, we're dividing by 5 again. If it says x or 5x, we divide by the number in front of the x. So we divide by 5 on both sides. 90 divided by 5 is going to give me 18. Let me write that in there just so the examiner can see all my working out. Now, with a question like this, always show your working. You're doing no harm by showing each, the examiner each step of the process. Okay, so find the value of x. X is 18. Happy days. Some students, I know they like to try and do some of this stuff in their head. If they get x equals 17 or x equals 19 and they've got no working out, 0 marks. However, if you've got the 18 there, or if you've got the wrong number there, but you've shown them each step along the way, you're likely to pick up some marks. And I tell you what, some marks are definitely better than no marks on a question, especially when you're trying to push for those higher grades. Okay, let's have a look at another example. So, calculate the size of the largest angle. So this is a different sort of question here, but we're going to need the same principles that we've looked at previously. Okay, so let's start. X plus 30, 3x plus 20, 3x minus 10, x. Now they're all referring to the corners inside of this quadrilateral, okay? So that means they're angles, and we know angles inside of a four-sided shape, such as this one, add up to 360. So I want to write it out as a long equation again. So x plus 30 plus 3x plus 20 plus 3x minus 10 plus x. Altogether, that's going to give me 360 degrees. Okay. Now, here comes the fun bit. We're going to group it together. We're going to simplify it because trying to make sense of all of this stuff here is quite heavy, isn't it? So if we simplify it, it makes our lives easier. And if we make our lives easier, we're more likely to arrive at the right answer by the end. So I've got a singular x there, plus 3x, that's 4x I'm on, plus another 3x, that's going to be 7x, plus another x, that's 8x in total. So I've circled all those. Let's put 8x down now. And then we can focus on the next bit. So let me choose a different color for this. Let's go for a green. So I've got a 30 plus 20, that's 50, minus 10. 50 take away 10 is 40. 40 is a positive number, so it's going to be plus 40. And look at that, we've now got our little solving equation there. And what I'll do, just for the sake of this video, is make it a little bit neater, just so you guys can have the perfect model example to look at your notes from. So 360 degrees. And I think we've established now, what do? We solve this equation to work out what x is, okay? So let me put my line down the center like so. First thing we're going to do is get rid of the plus 40, and we're going to take it away. So minus 40 from both sides. That's going to leave on the left-hand side 8x by itself. 360 take away 40 is 320 degrees. And now what we're going to do is, instead of timesing by 8, we're going to divide by 8. So we're going to do 320 divided by 8. Let me grab my black ink. There we go. So x equals 320 divided by 8, 40 degrees. Now, that's good. But that is not actually answering the question. It's a really crucial part of the question, but it's not answering the question. If you look carefully, the question says, calculate the size of the largest angle. And in order to do that, I need to use what I've just worked out and substitute it back into these terms. And then that will tell me which one's likely to be the largest. Now, worst case scenario, just do a straight swap with all of the angles and see what they are. So instead of x, it's going to be 40. So that one's nice and simple. X plus 30, well, it's going to be 40 add 30, which gives me 70 degrees. And what you want to do, you could circle them just to make it stand out. There we go. 3x plus 20. So 3 times 40 is 120. Plus 20 is 140 degrees. And then the final angle is 3x minus 10. So 3 times 40 is 120. Take away 10, 110 degrees. So looking at those 4 numbers there that I've circled, which one of those is the biggest? It's 140. So that's answering the question. Working out the value of x, substituting it back in, and then arriving at the final answer. Now, a quick check that you could do in your exam to make sure you've got these numbers right is add up those 4 circled numbers. If you add them up correctly, they should equal 360 degrees. So let's just quickly put that into a calculator. 70, add 110, add 140, add 40, boom, 360, happy days. So not only can you, do a check, you're pretty happy you've picked up all the marks there. And I'll tell you what, that's one of the best positions to be in an exam where you've picked up all the marks on what is a difficult question. Okay. I'm going to do another example here. And like I said, if you've done these last three with me and you're quite happy and you think, you know what, I think I'm getting it, feel free to pause the video at this point now. It's a slightly more challenging one because we're dealing with the perimeter now, but give it a go, see what you can do. The perimeter of this rectangle is 46 meters. Calculate its area. Oh, this is a good one. This is a saucy one. You'll see why. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 46 meters. Calculate its area. Well, first things first, in order to work out the area of a rectangle, I need to know the length and the width, or the base and the height, whichever you prefer, but I need to know these two lengths, okay? Now, in order to do that, I need to know what x is. So once again, we're going to go back to what we're talking about, finding the value of x. Now, if it's 2x plus 5 across the top, it's going to be 2x plus 5 across the bottom. And if it's x on the left, it'll be just x on the right. So now I've got all the components for the sides, and I know what the perimeter adds up to. This added to those four items together will give me 46 meters. So let's write it out. So 2x plus 5 plus x plus 2x plus 5 plus x all together would give me 46 meters, the total perimeter. Now, all well and good, let's simplify it. So we're going to put all of our x's together to 2x plus another 2x plus another x. So 2x plus x is 3x plus another x, 2x is 5x plus another x, 6x. Okay, so I've got 6x plus 5, add 5, that's a nice one, that's 10, equals 46. Now we're in that happy place now, aren't we, where we can try and solve this equation. Now, it goes without saying, your ability to solve equations is quite fundamental in being able to doing this, but if you can gravitate towards this, you're already picking up marks. If you can solve the equation, you're just doing that a little bit more, which is even better. Right, it says plus 10. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract 10. We're going to take away 10 from both sides. That's going to leave me with 6x on the left side. 46 take away 10 is 36 meters. Now, the last thing I need to do, divide by 6. Like so. That's going to leave me with x by itself. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Now, this is good. We've got what x equals. We can now substitute it back in to the question. And for this, I'll change the column of n. So instead of x now, we can now put in 6. So get rid of the x. Let's put in 6 meters. 2x plus 5, well, that means 2 lots of 6, which is 12, plus 5 is 17 meters. So we know the two dimensions now that we need. We know the length and the width. So just open the calculator. 6 times by 17 is 102. And we're dealing with area, so it's going to be meters squared. That is my final answer. Now that's a corker of a question because you're using a lot of skills there. You need using your understanding of perimeter, your ability to form an equation, your ability to solve an equation, your ability to substitute, and then not only that, your ability to work out an area. So they are definitely interesting questions because the amount of complexity in there. But guys, well done. If you're working towards some of these answers, you may not be getting it 100% right, but if you're working towards it, you're definitely picking up marks. And like I said, that's a good place to be, okay? Now, these were the two questions that I would like you guys to give a go now. So I've gone through a couple of examples. Pause the video here. Now, this is quite important. Pen and paper. Look at all that working out. There is no way I could have done that in my head or that one in my head. So pen and paper, make your life easier. Sketch out the triangle and the quadrilateral on the right. Make a note of the important information and then give it a go. In about 5 seconds, I'm going to go through these answers and hopefully you've had some success. So pause the video now, give them a go, and then unpause it when you're ready. Okay, hopefully you guys have answered those questions now. Let's see if you've got something similar to me. So you've got 3 terms inside of a triangle. They represent the angles. So they're going to add up to give me the angles inside of a triangle. Okay, so got 2x plus 2x plus 7 plus x plus 18. Let me just fix that for you guys so you've got a nice clear screen. So they are angles inside of a triangle, and we know angles inside of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. What do we do next? We simplify that long equation. So I'm going to put all of our x's together. We've got 2x plus 2x plus another x. So altogether there, that is 5x. So underneath 5x plus 7 add 18 is 25. So I've got 5x plus 25 equals 180 degrees. What do I do next? I'm going to solve this equation. I'm going to take away the 25 from both sides. Take away 25 from here. Take away 25 from here. So on the left-hand side, we're going to be left with 5x. Let me get my pen back. There we go. So we're going to have 5x equals 180. Take away 25 is 155 degrees. And then the last thing we need to do to get x by itself, which is the aim of the game, is to divide by 5. So 155 divided by 5 is going to give me 31 degrees. So I'm going to write that now in black ink. Here we go. X equals 31 degrees. Now the question doesn't say what's the biggest angle, what's the smallest angle, or anything like that. But if we needed to, we have what we had. And if you want to, as a little extension on this video, feel free to tell me what those angles are. Tell me what that would be, and that would be, and that would be. Okay. And then a good check in your exam, add those three numbers up and you should get 180. Okay. Right, let's have a look at this question on the right, the quadrilateral shape. So we might run out of space here, but we'll give it a go. I might do a bit at the top and then solve it at the bottom. Let's have a look. So we've got the perimeter of this shape is 65 centimeters. Find the value of r. So I know that all those sides added together are going to give me 65 centimeters. So let's just write that up here. 2r plus 5 plus another 2r plus r plus 4r minus 3. So you can see I've written that across the top there. They're all the four sides added together, and that would equal 65 centimeters. Now what I'm going to do, group it together. So get all of my r's in one place. Okay, so 2 r's there, another 2 r's there, another r there, and 4 r's there. So I'm going to add all those up now. My pen ready again. So 2 add 2 is 4, add another one is 5, add another 9. So we've got 9 r. And then we've got plus 5 minus 3. So 5 minus 3 is 2, which is a positive number. So it's going to be plus 2, and that's going to give me 65 centimeters. Okay, now let's write that down here. We might have to squeeze it in. So apologies for the lack of space, but we'll make it work. 9r plus 2 equals 65. The first thing I'm going to do is subtract the 2. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. That's going to leave me with 9r equals 63. 9r equals 63. Now, hopefully you guys are telling me through your computer screens or laptop screens or iPads or phones, whatever you're watching this on, hopefully you're telling me the last thing I need to do is divide by 9, and you'd be absolutely spot on. Because we've got 9r, so we're going to do 63 divided by 9. 63 divided by 9 is 7. Okay, and we're dealing with centimeters, so it's going to be 7 centimeters. Find the value of r. There you go, examiner. That is the value of r. Give me my marks, move on to the next question. So that is a general summary of forming and solving equations with shapes, with diagrams. Now, don't be intimidated by these questions. Use what you know to help you work through these questions. Okay, so if you know it's dealing with angles, work out what those angles need to add up to. If you're dealing with perimeter, make a note of what that perimeter adds up to. Okay, and then just try and form a solve an equation that looks about right. Take your time, lots of practice. The good thing about these, if you need the support, feel free to message me on Teams. My name again, once again, is Sam Parry, and I'll send you some pictures, images, whereby there's lots of example questions and you can give them a go. Send your answers back and I'll mark them and give you feedback, okay? We are now going to look, we've done this one now, we're now going to look at worded problems. So what I mentioned at the start of the video, you might be able to remember that worded problems can often be used or solved using trial and error. However, if we can use set up and solve an equation, we get the answer pretty quickly, 100% right, accurately as well, which is really important in a maths exam. So let's have a look. Lauren has some sweets. Kirsty has twice as many sweets as Lauren. Simon has 5 less sweets than Kirsty. In total, they have 35 sweets. How many sweets does Kirsty have? Now, to do trial and error with this, it might take you a bit of time to work out, well, how many does Lauren have? They've got to double it, and then take away 5. They even need to add up. It can get a bit messy. So what we're going to do, I'm going to write those names out. We're going to say Lauren, then we'll say Kirsty, and then Simon. They're the 3 names. And then instead of using the words, I want to replace it with algebra. So Lauren has some sweets. We don't know how many it is. Let's say it's X. She has X amount of sweets. Kirsty has twice as many. So she's got double that. So it's going to be 2X. Okay, so Lauren's got a certain amount of sweets. Kirsty's got twice as many. Simon has 5 less sweets than Kirsty. So Simon has the same as this, but 5 less. So he's got 2X minus 5. That's how. So what I've done, I've taken the words out and used algebra to replace them. In total, they have 35 sweets. So added together, if you add these together, you get 35 sweets. Now what we're going to do is solve it. Okay, we're going to group all the x's together. So we've got x plus 2x plus another 2x. Okay, so they're all my x's. How many x's do I have altogether? I've got 5x. Oops, let me get the pen back to where it needs to be. So I've got 5x minus 5 equals 35. What do I need to do? Get rid of the minus 5. I do the opposite. I add 5 to both sides. So I'm going to have 5x equals 40. 5x equals 40. What do I do next? I divide by the 5. So 40 divided by 5 gives me 8. So x equals 8 sweets. Okay, now that's quite important now because we can actually bring that back into this bit here. So Lauren has 8 sweets. Kirsty had 2 lots of that, so that's going to be 16 sweets. Simon has 2 lots of it, but we're taking away 5. So 16, take away the 5 is 11. How many sweets does Kirsty have? There you go, she has 16 sweets. So I've worked that out. Now, a good way to do a check is to add these numbers up that we've just calculated. So you can add 8 to 16, which gives you 24, add 11, gives you 35, which is exactly what we wanted. So by using algebra and quickly replacing all those heavy words with a few symbols and a few letters, we've been able to solve an equation, substitute that back in, and look at that, we've arrived at the spot on answer. So we don't have to worry about, oh, could it be 8 sweets? Could it be 7 sweets? Could it be 9 sweets? Could it be 10 sweets? And then working out the rest. We've just substituted in some equations and boom, we've got an answer. One of my favourites, this one. Ben, Mark and Leon. They share profit from a business deal. Mark receives £400 more than Ben. Leon receives six times as much as Ben. In total, the 3 businessmen share £5,200. How much money does Mark receive? Okay, here we go. So same as before. We've got Ben, we've got Mark, we've got Leon. Ben, Mark, and Leon share some profit. So Mark receives 400 more than Ben. Well, let's start with Ben. Ben has a certain amount. He has X amount. Mark receives £400 more. So it's going to be X plus £400. Look at that, nice. Leon receives 6 times as much as Ben. So Ben's got X amount. Leon's got 6 times as much. So it's going to be 6X. Altogether, that adds up to £5,200. Okay. So if we add those values together, we'll know what we need to do. So let's group them together now. So we've got x plus x, that's 2x, plus another 6x. Altogether, that is 8x. And then we've got plus 400 left over. So I'm going to write that up here. 8x plus 400 equals £5,200. Hopefully you guys have watched this video well enough now to know that the first thing we need to do is get rid of that plus 400. So we're going to do that by taking it away, and we do it to both sides. What does that leave me with? Well, on the left hand side, I'm going to have 8x. On the right hand side, I'm going to have £4,800. Now I'm going to try and keep the pound symbol in because we are dealing with money, so it is good to keep your symbols in there. I'll put it there as well, so I'm not a hypocrite. There we go. Now, last thing I need to do is divide by 8 on both sides. That's going to leave me with x by itself, which is what we want. 4,800 divided by 8. Well, 48 divided by 8 is 6. There's 2 zeros, so whack those 2 zeros on there. £600. So using that information, we can put it back in. So Ben's got £600 on the dot. Mark has £600 plus 400. That's £1,000. And Leon has 6 lots of £600, which is £3,600. Look at that. Leon's done well off that business deal. So when it comes to the question, it says, how much money does Mark receive? Well, Mark's got £1,000. He's done quite well there. Not as well as Leon, though. Geez. So Mark, £1,000. And once again, a quick way to check if your numbers are right, add them up. Okay, so let me just highlight these. add 600 to 1000 to 3600. And if you know you've got that, well, you know you've hit the jackpot because you've not only calculated the answer, you've done a check and it all makes sense mathematically. Now, I'm giving you guys 2 questions to do here. There's Alice, who is the daughter of James and Susie. You've also got Mike, who is thinking of 3 numbers. Take your time, work through them, give them a go. This is tricky. We've not taught this much before at all, so this is definitely new territory, but give it a go. You might surprise yourself. You might pick up marks that you never thought you'd be able to achieve in a quicker way than you've ever thought. So I'll give you a moment to pause the video. Then I want you to work through these questions and arrive at the answer. Take your time, and hopefully our working outs are similar. Okay, let's have a look at these numbers and these questions. So Alice is the daughter of James and Susie. James is 5 times older than Alice. Susie is 3 years younger than James. In total, their ages add up to 63 years. How old is Susie? So, right up here. Now, I have kind of given myself a little bit lack of space here, but we're going to make it work. Positivity, you ready? So Alice, James, Susie. Okay, Alice is the daughter. She's okay. So we don't know about Alex. She's the unknown. We know James is 5 times older, so that's going to be 5x. And we know that Susie is 3 years younger than James, so she's the same as James, but 3 years younger, so we're going to subtract 3. Okay, and if you add those up together, we get their total age of 63. So let's bear that in mind. Now we're going to group it together. So we've got x plus 5x plus 5x. That's 11x altogether. Minus 3 equals 63. Okay. Hopefully I've not lost you there. What I've just done there is I've just grouped all the x's together like so. So I've got 11x, then the minus 3 left over just tagged in there at the end. I'm going to solve this equation now. So first thing we do, it says minus 3, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. That's going to give me 11x equals 66. 11x equals 66. Last thing I need to do, divide by 11. Divide by 11. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that x, this unknown number, is actually 6. Okay, so if we substitute that back in now, I want to tidy up my working out from before. Hopefully it stays clear. There we go. Let's group it together. So we know that Alice is x years old, which is actually 6. We know that, they're going to make it a bit near, James is 5 times that. So 5 lots of 6 is 30. And Susie is 3 years younger than James. Well, 5x is 30. Take away the 3 is 27. So how old's our friend Susie? She's 27 years old. Once again, do a check, add up those 3 numbers. If they add up to 63, Alice is your daughter, James and Susie are your mum and dad. Boom, excellent, good stuff. Okay, I'll highlight that there so it stands out nice and clearly. Okay, right, last question of the video. Let's have a look. Let's try and take my time. I'm not going to rush it. Try and make sense of it. Mike is thinking of 3 numbers. The first number has 1 digit. The second number is 10 greater than the first. The third number is twice as big as the second. In total, their sum value is 50. What are the 3 numbers? Now, in order to do this video justice and this question justice, I'm going to just quickly make it so I've got more space, because I always talk to my students about, using space, and if you need to use the back of the sheet or whatever you may need to do. So let me just duplicate this slide and give myself some space to work with. There you go, guys. You get to see behind the scenes footage of a maths teacher, what goes into lessons, all the fun. Okay. Okay, guys, that'll do. Hopefully you guys can agree that's still the same question. Right. Take your time. So the first number, second number, third number. So we don't know what they are. So I'm going to put number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. Now let's just get rid of that funky line. And we'll start from the top. So the first number is a 1-digit number. We don't know what it is, so we're just going to put it as x. We don't know what it is, it's just going to be an x. The second number is 10 greater, so it's going to be 10 bigger. Not 10 times as big, just 10 bigger, so it's going to be x plus 10. Now the third number is twice as big as the second. So what you could do is say, well, it's going to be 2 lots of x plus 10. Okay. Now, if you're like me and you think, actually, I can expand those brackets, then go ahead and do it. Okay. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 10 is 20. So there's my new and improved selection there. Okay. So instead of me writing it 2x open brackets plus 10, yeah, let's just write it down as 2x plus 20. Okay. So that's where the 2x plus 20 has come from. Voila. Now, these, their sum, they add up to 50. That's what I'm going to be working towards now. You know the drill now, don't you? Get all your x's together. Group everything, all the like terms, whack them together. So I've got x plus 2x, that's 4x. And then 10 plus 20 is 30 equals 50. I'm going to solve this now by subtracting the 30. Take away 30 from both sides. There we go. So it's going to be 4x equals 20. Now, some of you might already be shouting out the answer to me here because you've got quite quick mental arithmetic. The last thing we're going to do, divide by 4. X equals 5. Now, already, I'm thinking this looks good because I know from reading the question, the first number is 1 digit. 5 has 1 digit, so that's already telling me I'm in a good place. So let's do this neat and tidy. Do it properly. Let's finish on a strong. So let's get the black ink ready to go. So instead of x, it's going to be 5. X plus 10. Well, 5 add 10 is 15. 2x plus 20. Well, 2 lots of 5 is 10 plus 20 is 30. Right, let's just go back. The first number is 1 digit, yes. The second number is 10 greater. 15 is 10 greater than 5, brilliant. The third number is twice as big as the second, yeah. 30 is twice as big as that. So I've ticked every one of those, so that's good. And they add up to 50, do they? 5 and 15 is 20. Look at that. It does add up to 50. So what are the three numbers? 5, 15, and 30. I've used algebra to solve a worded mathematical problem without breaking much of a sweat. Now, I teach maths a lot. I've grown confidence doing these. If it takes, look, I don't think I'm very good at maths, if I'm honest. I've just been doing it a lot. Now, this might be something you think, you know what, actually, I think I can practice this. I think I can do well with this. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, the more time you put into something like this, the better you become at it and the more success you will have. Like I said during the midway point in this video, if you want more practice of these questions, it will only take me a minute or two to write them up, send them over, and then you can give them a go. So don't be shy. The more you do, the better your outcome will be. Give them a go. But hopefully, after watching this video, you feel a little bit better about working with setting up and solving equations with regards to a diagram, but also when you're looking at solving worded problems. But yeah, give it a go, get stuck in. Hopefully find this beneficial, helpful. This video beneficial and helpful. I'll see some of my students in college soon. And for those of you watching online, catch you in another video. All the best.